The brave toad. There once was a very large toad who lounged about in the sun. His days were always carefree. He always had much fun. One day the skies got dark and rain poured down from the sky. The brooks became mighty streams as the waters grew very high. The dry earth of his home was soaked and soon became mud. The floodwaters carried it along with branches and other crud. The toad was carried adrift in what was left of his home. The waters melted his walls into a brown kind of foam. Somehow the toad held onto a branch and then to a log. He was carried along for miles and landed in a very cold bog. The trees there were so tall they blocked out much of the sun. In darkness he called out for others, but found he was the only one. So the toad swam to the shoreline and discovered an earthen mound. An industrious fellow, he constructed a new home with materials he found. Food was ample and in abundance. He feasted on many bugs and flies. His vision for movement was so sharp, not many would escape his guise. The toad had plenty to eat and indeed had much there to drink, but the terrible loneliness he endured gave him lots of time to think. Days seemed to pass so slowly without someone else there to play, but the toad reckoned there was a reason, so by goodness he vowed he would stay. He lived in that cold, dark bog as summer gave way to fall and cold winds began to blow midst the trees that stood so tall. Yet the brave toad stood his ground. From his post he would not stray, till the fierce snows of winter descended upon him one bitter cold day. Even though he was not as determined, the toad continued to wait. He couldn't but help to acknowledge that the darkness and cold he did hate. So considering his choices carefully, should I stay or go, he mused. He looked around for a sign, but was really quite confused. Till one day the dark sky cleared to show a rainbow in the west. He knew at once it was the sign to embark upon his quest. Bright and early the next day, this little toad did roam. He started back the way he'd come, towards his former little home. As the day grew longer and longer, the sun beat down on the toad. He was ready to turn back the other way when his eyes recognized an old road. With happiness he recalled that locale as the playground of his youth. In a short time he found his old homestead and came away with a valuable truth. So remember this little wisdom. It became the brave toad's banner. If you hasten to learn its true meaning, then nothing else will matter. When fate sends you onto a trail and drops you wherever it may, by goodness, you too must reckon there's a reason that there you must stay.